Okay, well, let me see if this runs for a few minutes. Assuming it does, we'll be live. Check the mic also. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Mic, 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 mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. I love a parade. I love to sing and watch and say. I love a parade. Now if I turn around and scream, yeah. Okay, I'm trying to keep my eye on that fucker. All right, let's see what happens here. Gaming. Yeah, whatever. All right. Wow. All right. Not worried about that warning. Just don't kick me off for copyright. Don't kick me off for that either. Okay. All right. Testing seems to be going okay. Let me give it 5 minutes before I get excited. Hasn't been booted yet. That's good. Yeah, I figured it out finally. Yeah, I know. Okay. Don't care about that. Let's see how Google's doing. Still going. Good. Come on. Keep going. Right. Okay. Cool. Where are we at? 340. Come on, just 2 more minutes. Okay. That's good. Keep going, buddy. Don't fail me now, YouTube. Okay. Everything looks like it's running. Nice. We still have a live feed? We do. Excellent. All right. What time is it? 5:36. Still running? All right. I finally licked it. All right. 5:40. If anybody's watching me, I don't know if probably you aren't, and you shouldn't be. But oh, I got a new subscriber. Nice. Uh, so anyway, I'll be on in 20 minutes. Got a great show tonight. I can't wait to do this. or 0? There it is. All right, beautiful. If anyone's on, go ahead and chat. It would be appreciated. I know it's working. No, Mike, but I'm going to discuss audio. All right, at 6 p.m., I'm going to deliver as promised. I do want to know if we got people able to clock in or not. Let me check my phone. Working. All right, good. Thanks, Matt. You never know with this stuff. All right, let me get this show on the road. Yeah, 1 second. Shit. Yeah, 1 second. There it is. All right, good. Oop, let me get rid of the annoying text. 1 second. Nobody wants to see that stuff, right? All right, good. Getting a little better at this very, very, very slowly. Give a couple of latecomers a minute here to figure it out. Just give me 1 minute. I know it's 6:02. Just give me 1 minute. Hang on, Thirsty. Come in. Walter. This is not on purpose. No, forward. No, not backward. Oh, God, Walter. Oh, Chef hates you so much. They're supposed to come right at me in a show of affection and love, and they are. Except for Walter, who's having a little tough time here. Come on, Walter. There we go. Come on, everyone wants to see you. They all want to know about you. Thirsty. Thanks for joining us on tonight's Open Kitchen, everyone. In spite of the totally haphazard beginning, I promise this will be a smoother episode. I've learned a little about audio, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Walter. I'm the sous chef here. I'm not chef. So, hang on. I have to retrieve Walter. Unlike Chef, I really love Walter. Walter has a few birth defects, unfortunately. You can appreciate him here for a second. Such as those. Doesn't listen to any instructions. Walter can't cross the carpet, for example. So returns back to the thing. But I personally love him anyway. Hold on, I'm going to retrieve him. Excuse me, it's not a him. Hang on, I can get my therapy blanket. This is the family all together. That's better, right? Good. Hi, everyone. I hope that your families are doing as well as ours obviously are. I hope there's no coronavirus in your household and that you're all getting along with each other as well as this family is here. Welcome to COVID Kitchen. This is season 1, episode 4. Hopefully the last episode, but we never know. We'll talk about that a little more later. I'm sure Chef is in a fairly irascible mood, I gotta tell you, so I'm sure he's gonna say something. I'm sous chef here at COVID Kitchen, and I love the rescues as much as anybody. Walter and Thirsty are both glad to be here. Walter especially so. Walter's the older brother. Anyway, Chef made me come out here to start tonight's episode because I screwed up. I hope you can hear me. He made a point of saying, make sure they can hear you when you do this. So hopefully you can hear me. Hold on. This is what happens when you have like a regular job and you have to somehow run a live stream with no support. Because Chef fired our production guy a couple episodes ago. So now a lot of that's is coming to me. Anyway, see how they like that. Anyway, I have to. Chef made me do this. So I tried to cheat on you all. I went on this fool's quest to 4 separate Golden One branches that were all closed. A couple of them apparently are running on reduced hours, but I just flat out couldn't get the job done. And I couldn't help myself. I was near Sun Fish Markets, and I thought, oh, I'm going to just go and get some fresh seafood. So I deliberately rode by there. They were closed, but I was going to buy some food. Chef has been very adamant about not having any interaction with grocery stores since this whole thing started. It's been 3 weeks and a couple days, and I betrayed him and by extension you, and I apologize. And then today, when I was successfully going to a bank, I diverted my route home and I went by BevMo. They were closed also, so but my heart is laid bare, and I tried to cheat on you and betray you, and I apologize for that. I'm a weak man. I'm just a lucky guy to have a couple of pet rescues like this who even love me this much. So anyway, Chef wanted me to communicate that to you. I have a few more things to say before Chef comes on, but I'm going to go get a homebrew first, a beer that Chef made. And he'll be on in a minute here, but first I'm going to go get something to drink because, unlike him, I'm not, you know, as you can tell, I'm a little more sober than some of his nights. So just give me a minute. Ooh, glass. I'll tell you a little. I'll tell you a little about this homebrew. All right. So until he gets here, let me just confess something. Hang on, let me check the chat to make sure there are no like huge problems. Okay. So I have to confess something. I'm on really thin ice with Chef right now. I think Chef is totally ready to fire me. He's been firing people right, left, and center, and I'm not doing a good job. The farm's not doing a good job. That's not my responsibility. The sound guy, he's gone. I mean, there's logistics got laid off. I mean, this has been a really tough time, and I'm on thin ice right now tonight. That's why I had to kind of apologize to you. When he comes up here, you'll see how irascible he's feeling. This is good beer. This is a home brew. It's delicious. This is really one of the. This is probably the best beer ever to come out of Coven Kitchens Brewery. In fact, I'm sure it is because it's the only one. But it's good. Wow. I can't even believe how good that tastes. Let me have another sip. Chef doesn't even drink beer anymore. He drinks wine and some of this other shit. But I'm his sous chef, and so I do what I can. Anyway, the other thing that's so. By the way, the thing is I'm not really that worried about it because, like, I have so much dirt on Chef. It's not even funny. I mean, the variety of workplace safety and harassment claims I can file against that guy and screw his life over, even though he did dig me out of the dirt once. He can't fire me. That's why he hasn't fired me already. So, I guess. Cheers. Anyway, one of the things that I can do is I could go. There's another COVID kitchen channel, and here's the crazy thing: the guy is also from Chicago. His show is way more polished than Chef's is. I mean, you've seen it. And he's like an actual cook. He's like teaching people how to cook instead of, what Chef is doing. Don't tell him I said this. But I mean, the difference, and it's a good show. I watched one of them last night, and the guy even is using spam. Chef has spam. He's saving that. This guy broke it out early because we don't know how many episodes are going to be, and it's called COVID Kitchen. I mean, it's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was watching it last night. I was like, wow, look at this. If Chef was smart, he would merge forces with this other guy. There's too much in common, too many strengths. Chef is a little more creative, but but Chef's not that smart. He's very stubborn, irritated. He's not that polished. He resents it. I think he fired like the sound guy partly just because he likes it this way, this screwed up way that he's got it. That being said, he makes pretty good beer. God, that's delicious. Beguiling. That is such an interesting beer. Anyway, the point is, I can go to the other COVID kitchen. I can get a job there. The pay here sucks. Ask anybody who works here. They're all going to say the same thing. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. That being said, Chef is starting to get a lot of subscribers. I think there were like 24 now, subscribers. I don't know what the subscribers are doing or paying or anything, but let me show you something that one of the fans of the show sent in, and Chef, insisted that I have this because he was feeling a little guilty at one point. I got a little dirt on him, and so he gave me basically this apron for that. So I now have a new apron. It's nice. It's very luxurious. It's decadent. It matches the only clothes I have, which haven't been washed in 3 to 4 weeks, and so it's just beautiful. I'm very delighted. Thank you to my fan who sent me this apron. I mean, really, Chef's fan, but I'm kind of like a derivative. So I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about all this. Anyway, tonight's episode is called Spice Island. I will say this: Chef has got a very fun episode planned for you tonight. There's some cool, interesting information ready, and you're going to learn how to toast and cook with your own fresh, exotic Asian spices. And I will say one thing for Chef, in spite of all his many total faults. I mean, he's a very flawed guy. He can make a pretty good stir fry. And that's basically what you're going to get tonight. But don't be disappointed. It'll be delicious. Hang on one second. He just basically told me he's ready. So I'm going to go down to the wine cellar and go get him. And then Chef is going to present to you tonight's episode 4 of the COVID Kitchen. The idiot left his beer here. Hello, fans. Kitchen. God. I guess a lot of you have a lot of complaints about stuff on this show. Before I get started, we probably should open a bottle of wine, right? Should we go with the 2014 Zinfandel or 2016 Cab from Argentina? With all the flavors we're going to have tonight, I think I want a big beer. We're going with the 2016 Cab. Zin would have been spicy if it was young, but it's not. You got a lot of complaints, do you? Fans. But one thing that can't be complained about is this wine, La Vida de Argentina. Except we have one fan who's actually watching from Uruguay. I know that. And she may be laughing at me opening this wine. This is probably swill in her country. They probably feed this to the bums or to the surabi fish or dorados swimming around in the rivers. But around here, this is fine wine. Let's decant this for a while, shall we, and let it air out. All right, put that over here. Let it air out for a long time. All right, that's been long enough. All right. So let's address a few issues between us, shall we? I understand there's a lot of complaints, a lot of problems that people have with this. I actually wrote a few of them down because I can't keep track of them all. So let's go through this, shall we? Before we start cooking, we got to, clear the air. God, I don't even know where to start. Okay, the set of complaints from a number of you about hygiene, I'm not taking this. Hang on. This is just right. The hygiene complaints have got to stop immediately. I know some of you were upset that I opened the crisper with my foot, and then I'm walking around barefoot in my own kitchen, and then I'm not spraying everything down every time. First of all, if coronavirus is in my house, spraying everything down isn't going to do anything. The only way it got here is because I brought it in. This is just stupid. But okay, fine, whatever. First of all, I want to just say this. We are doing a good job of keeping hygiene up to a very high level here in the COVID kitchen. We've got 1,500 certifications from the health board saying that things are fine. I mean, easily by tomorrow we're going to have 50,000, and I think by the end of the week we're going to have 600,000 certifications, and more than 2 million by next week. So I don't even want to hear about this, the lack of certification. COVID Kitchen, by the way, employs at a very lucrative and generous compensation a food safety inspector, Lynn. She's one of our viewers. And Lynn has signed off on everything that we're doing. Literally nothing goes by Lynn. This is all done like with Whisker Precision, and she's a professional. She works in Illinois as a trainer for food safety for grocery stores and things like that. And so she understands food safety well, and she has rigorously evaluated all of this and determined that we're completely fine. Now, there are two other points I want to make here on this whole subject of hygiene. Wow. 2 for 2 so far tonight on the I'm sorry, I mean 1 for 1 tonight. I don't know what he was drinking, but this is still tasty. Wow, that is good. By the way, I can definitely endorse. This is one of the better wines I've had in a while, La Vida de Argentina. And again, some of our South American viewing contingent might be laughing at me right now, but I think this is delicious. 2016 from Mendoza. I can definitely recommend it. Very good. Anyway, so the next point I would have to say about this is this. Okay, let's say for sake of discussion that, and I mean this very seriously, that this is not the most hygienic place on the planet. This is not a hospital, which it's probably not, in spite of Lynn's endorsement of all of our strict hygiene procedures. What do you want? You're going to be sleeping at night. You've been infected with coronavirus. And do you want your immune system to be sleeping? Maybe even hungover from the night before's lack of immune activity, just knocked off early? Or do you want an immune system that's been actively working hard? It's been engaged. This hyper hygiene angle, I think, is wrong, frankly. You want to have your body ready to go. And lastly, I'm just going to say this: food poisoning? Hello? What the hell does that have to do with coronavirus? Where does that even involve a ventilator or a genetic test that's 80% accurate? Who cares? Food poisoning? Get your heads examined. Anyway, we're going to carry on here at the COVID Kitchen. I don't want to hear any more complaints about hygiene. Next. And by the way, thanks to Lynn for taking care of us and covering us on all this. And by the way, Lynn, you're going to have to field all the questions that we get from people on the subject of, hygiene here. But since you endorsed it, that shouldn't be a problem for you. All right. The sous chef, that guy, I'm so close to firing him. I've pretty much had it with this. At one point he called me. He said I was like, I smelled and looked like Rasputin, except with a worse beard. This is what my own sous chef said to me. Sure. He doesn't seem to understand that what I'm trying to open up here. So, you've heard of farm to fork. We're going to basically establish the whole idea of farm to asshole, because that's basically what is obviously needed here at this time. Sorry. I'll just skip all that. All right. Two other little points about the actual production that I sympathize with you and agree on. I know the sound sucks. I fired the sound guy. He's gone. I'm going to have to just basically make sure that I talk into the mic, and I'm sorry for the inadequate production quality. It basically boils down to the logistics guy, who was also fired 3 weeks ago, bought this crappy $120 laptop, and this is what we're running the whole show on. The sound will actually run through my old, 10-year-old laptop, but this device does not recognize a microphone. I spent 3 hours on it. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry to say that. That's too bad. And then not being able to see the food when it comes out at the end. Oh, come on. Justify that with a response. All right. With that said, let's now get to tonight's episode. We're going to basically just do something simple. We're going to make stir fry. Let me check the chat real quick to make sure there are no disastrous things going on. Okay. Beautiful. That's all I wanted to see. So we basically have 4 things to do tonight. Uh-oh. Froze up for a second. Oh, there it is. All right. So one of them is too easy to waste time on. I just have to get it started, which is basically to boil some rice. Except that's not enough water. A little more. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about spices. And I probably need to turn the light back on so you can see. All right. We're probably going to do a couple of things here tonight. Maybe this. Hang on. Check the display. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. So we're going to make 4 things. We're going to make rice, which is nothing. I mean, nobody cares about that. But I've got to make it because the rest of the food is so Spartan. And one of the things we're going to do here is once everything's cooking, I'm going to show you the critical state of the food stores here at the COVID Kitchens. We're going to toast some spices, and we're going to prepare some spices. That's a very important part of tonight's program. We're going to stir fry some vegetables, and we're also going to make a sauce. It's a unique sauce. It's kind of like, if you want to think of it as homemade Hoisin sauce, that's not really a fair representation. It's just my own sauce. But anyway, we're going to make our own sauce a little bit out of our own stock. So just to show you, for those of you who are smart enough to make your own stock, some of the things you can do with it to make an otherwise totally bland meal delicious. However, this is not really going to be a totally bland meal because I'm going to hopefully teach you some things about spices that will be useful to you as you survive the apocalypse. Of course, assuming it's not about to end in about 4 days once the death rate starts going way down. Anyway, for now, let's assume that doesn't happen. So anyway, I've got some rice going. Will be soon. So this is the main thing. And I gotta pull the honey out. The honey's been getting warm. And we are gonna need honey. All right. I'm gonna turn this up to broil, and I'm gonna one by one bring these spices forward. These are spices that everybody uses that you shouldn't rely on too heavily. Here's the first one. Chinese 5-spice powder is great. There's lots of occasions to use this. It's basically a blend of spices that nobody really knows what they are. They were swept up from the floor in Wuhan, for all we know. This is actually probably full of coronavirus. But anyway, this 5-spice powder is fine, but it's very, it's very imprecise, and it's not really what you want to be using, unless you're lazy. Often I am. But here are some things that are really handy, and this is one of my favorites. Is cardamom, fresh cardamom. I don't know if you can see that or not. The smell off this is freaking phenomenal, and we're going to toast this. I mean, the smell of just the raw product is insane enough. I mean, it's so delicious. I use this a lot on dry rubs. This is one of my favorite things to put on a dry rub. It creates a lot of flavor out of pork. So we're going to do that here. Let me start getting them ready. We'll put I put them back in, but Lynn explicitly forbade me from putting cardamom back in this, and I follow whatever Lynn says. So there you have it. So that'll be the first one to go in, and then Here's our, while I'm waiting for the broiler to heat up, cloves. Cloves are another one. You can use, powdered cloves. I have tons of sawdust over here. Okay, I got the whole spice rack that everybody else does. But let's face it, all that stuff is just sawdust. It's, sweeping off the factory floor. Who knows how old it is? This is the stuff you want. And if you can't smell it, then why are you putting it in your food? Unless, of course, it's most of the time and you're not filming an episode called Spice Island. But this is the way to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to toast some of these up. And I would say that's plenty. It's actually more than plenty, but sometimes I overcook these and some of them get too toasty, so it never hurts to have a couple extras. Next. Here's an old favorite that many of you are, I'm sure, familiar with, black pepper. Now, you can either just put pepper on your food, and that's at your discretion. But if you really want to spice your food up and make it really taste alive, this is a very easy thing to do. Throw, a few peppercorns on a baking sheet and toast them. Trust me, it'll be a lot better. And of course, we have to mill them, and we'll do that in a minute. And then we next need to look at the cumin. Cumin? Yes, you can use the ground up stuff. Again, if you really want this stuff to have some real aroma and flavor, the right way to do this is to toast all this stuff. All right. So by now we're probably ready to go on the broiling. Let's see how hot it is in there. Nope, we're not. Okay, it's fine. Always check because you want to broil this stuff pretty fast. I mean, really fast, as you're going to see. This is often a misadventure of over toasting and burning stuff and setting off your smoke alarms. At least if you're doing it right. If you're not setting off your smoke alarm from time to time, then basically you're not even cooking. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Just order your food from Domino's and stop it already. So while we're waiting, the other thing I want to point out is this. Tonight, I'm going to use this spicy pickled garlic. Which is in a jar. It's already been pickled, and I'm just going to slice it up and throw it into probably the sauce. But understand something that one of the greatest things you can do for yourself when you're cooking with garlic, and everybody likes garlic, right? One of the greatest, easiest things you can do, and it just takes a little time, is to simply roast it in the oven. Instead of slicing it up and chopping it into little pieces and frying it in the pan, take the garlic, the whole clove, or the whole bulb, and put it in aluminum foil with a little olive oil and throw it in the oven at 350 for like 40 minutes. And then what you'll get is like this, the thing will basically partially deteriorate. You can squeeze all that out as like a paste. It's way tastier. We're not going to do that tonight because I'm out of garlic. And I'll talk about the other things that I'm out of here in a minute once I get to a certain point in the process. Again, nobody cares. This is just rice. Basically just standard rice. There's nothing fancy about it. If you don't know how to make rice, then wasting your time with this show. Advanced it is. Go to the other COVID Kitchen show, and you can learn about rice and spam there. All right, so now what we're going to get going here is these spices, and so one of the main things I do with this is a lot of how I basically do a dry rub. Yeah, sure, I'll use some paprika or cayenne or something like that. But if you can ever get your hands on fresh spices and then toast them and then mill them and then throw them into the rub, your food will be way more flavorful. Period. Full stop. Let's see how the oven's doing. It's not even on. Why? I broil. This is a problem. It's not even on. Wow. COVID Kitchens has a new problem. I'm not sure what's going on. Well, it's part of what makes this an exciting show, right? This is not a cooking show. It's a show for surviving in a time like this. It's not even responding. It's crazy. Interesting. All right, let me give it 2 minutes, and then if it doesn't work out, then, well, worse things have happened. Give me 1 second. Look, now it's perking out. I don't know, maybe I jiggled the wires enough. Yeah, that's always nice. Whenever electric is working that reliably, it's reassuring. All right, let's give that a minute because it's got to be hot before you put it in. There's no way to toast spices. You're just basically sitting around waiting for nothing. As you can attest to. All right, while I'm waiting for that to heat up, let me check the chat real quick. You're a horrible chef. Yes, I know, Stephen. He's a vent. There is no vent, Stephen. The naivety of people. Oh, yeah, there's a vent. It blows out right here. That's absolutely nothing. Ooh, the vent. For those of you homeowners, you can have a vent that actually goes to the outside. Mine just blows right on my face. One of the downsides of renting. Or the upsides, depending on how you look at it. But you can take your sneering, obnoxious attitude out of here. Let's see, what else? Oh, you still can't hear me. I'm not being good enough about talking into the mic. Okay. I'll try to do better. Move it closer. Horrible chef. What a horrible subscriber. Ah. Just kidding. Nobody really cares. All right. So by now, it's hot. Go ahead and put these guys in. We got to keep our eye on this stuff. You put this stuff in the oven, and it does not take long for it to get toasty. If you start smelling smoke, pull it out immediately. And so, I mean, this will be in for not very long. The broiler itself is not working. I wonder why. It's kind of annoying. The fact that the broiler is not working is not good. That's a new development here at COVID Kitchens, and I'll have to investigate that later. So instead, what I'm going to do tonight is cook it at 500, which is not really broiling, but you got to adapt. That's part of what being a coronavirus survivor is all about, right? There was some celebrity that lost her vacuum cleaner and something else, and she had a meltdown, and I don't have any idea what her name was. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, so your vacuum cleaner went down and you freaked out. Who cares? I mean, not that I don't care. Lynn strictly maintains a very diligent vacuuming schedule for the area near my kitchen, and I follow it. So, there's that. However, it's not the greatest crisis on the planet. Put the human seeds in now. This is just not going to be the same without the broiler. Why is the broiler not working? This really actually sucks. I'll put it on broil again just because I don't believe that the broiler's not working. It's just not working. Wow. That really blows. Bad timing for an episode named Spice Island. But that's okay. We'll be fine. Because, if all fails, there's always this. Oops, not yet. Ooh, I can certainly smell the cumin, though. That smells good. That's very good. Works a lot faster with a broiler. Well, but we learn on the fly. As humans, that's what makes us adaptable. That's how we can survive coronavirus, a virus that probably kills about 0.4% of humanity, the people it infects, that we've basically decided to destroy society over because of our jackass freaking politicians, especially at our state and local level. Sorry, but it's true. It's just absolutely revolting. And the journalists don't deserve any slack cut to them either. They're basically immoral human beings for what they're doing to real people's lives, and you know it. The question is not saving lives, but in between what we're doing and nothing would be sanity. And what we're doing is not sanity. All right, that's pretty much done. You can tell by smelling. When it starts to smell really rich, that's when you know that you can pull your raw spices out of the oven. Again, when they're broiling, it's a lot easier to tell because if they start to smoke or something like that, then you pull it out immediately and evaluate whether or not they've cooked too much. This is the cumin seeds. I don't know if you can see this or not. I'll try to show you. But they're toasty and brown. I can smell them very richly. They're definitely producing a lot of aroma, and that's what we want. They're not burnt. They're perfect. Let's hope our other spices go just as well. And I see that there's a bright light. Where is that light? What's that one? Oh, beautiful. This is exactly when we want to pull the cardamom out. Look at that. They're beautiful brown and toasty. And boy, they smell wonderful. Oh, that I know the sound sucks, and there's nothing I can do about that. But the smell. This? Oh, these are perfect too. All right. Those are done. The only thing we got to get down is the pepper. Pepper usually goes pretty quick too. Pepper, if your broiler's working, is a minute, 30 seconds, maybe. Probably not even that. And then I'll show you what we do with this to make it into a wonderful concoction that you're going to be able to use. Like, so you can do this with anything that you're making, literally anything. You can produce your own spices. We're going to grind them up so they're just like, the stuff you're used to throwing on your food. But this will produce a far richer flavor than the sawdust that you're using in your little jars. Now, I use the sawdust too. I'm lazy a lot. I don't always want to go through the hassle. But if I'm going to make some good ribs or something like that, a huge part of enhancing the flavor is buying your own, spices before they've been milled, toasting them, and milling them yourself. If you do nothing other than that, you will radically improve the flavor of whatever it is you're cooking. I'm serious. I mean, this is about the most elemental thing you can do. Anyway, pepper is. I'm gonna put it back in for a minute. Thought I could smell it. But it's hard with all the other aroma coming off the other spices. A little longer. If it's broiling, it would have been done by now, but it's not broiling. It's cooking at 500. So we'll give it a minute. And in the meantime, you can kiss your loved ones or escape from them, depending on what your priority is and how long you've been cooped up with them. Oh, nice. That's how we know we're cooking. Nice. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but the smoke alarm is going off. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, perfect. It stopped on its own. That almost never happens. My poor neighbors. They probably think I'm burning down the house like at least twice a week. All right. So I have basically a coffee grinder. It's not the same thing as my regular coffee grinder, which in no universe should you mix the two coffee grinders together because I wouldn't want cardamom flavored coffee every day, especially when coronavirus demands that you drink like 2 pots of it at home every day. So buy yourself a separate $12, preferably 9 Chinese coffee grinder, and use it for your spice mill. And then what you do is you just basically take all these spices, like I'm doing here, you dump them into the mill. You dump them into the mill, and then there you go. Well, you can see this. Oh, trying to get you to see this. Oh my god. The aroma coming off this is just ridiculous. That's gonna be oh my god. Forget no sound. It's no smell that's gonna kill you guys. Alright. Meantime, let's get our sauce going. Woo! That's gonna be delicious. That's going to be delicious. All right. Sauce is going now. Heat going. So this is not complicated. I'm just going to put a little butter. I'm just going to put a little bit of butter and flour into this, and then put some pork stock, and I'll explain the pork in a second. Right now, Paul is very offended because I'm sure my lack of sifting really annoyed the hell out of him. I'm sorry, Paul, but I'm just not a sifter. Anyway, it's basically stir fry. It doesn't need to be rocket science. I'm not making a delicate fish here. Oh shit! I'm dying of coronavirus. So while I'm waiting for this to cook, I'm just going to say this real quick. I hope this isn't the last episode of the COVID Kitchen, but it might be. There's a faction of society that's ready to go back to normality, and I don't blame them. We should be. We should all be ready to go back to normality sooner than later. We've overreacted, and let's just be honest about it. That being said, we here at COVID Kitchen are here to support you emotionally in your need to survive at all times. And so that's why, as soon as I get all this stuff going properly, I'm going to briefly walk you through where we're at with respect to our stocks of food, because those are very important. Now, this is pork broth that I made from ribs a couple weeks ago. I've got this roux going, flour and butter. It's nothing. It's not rocket science. And I'm gonna put this in because I want to make this is gonna turn into a nice thick sauce here. Watch. Save some of this for later. And I made this stock. If you don't make stock on your own, you really should start doing it because it's way tastier than the crap that you get in a bottle or you get powdered. You take the bones from anything you're eating: chicken, ribs, beef, ribeye steak. You got a ribeye and you threw the bones away? Like what? Um, and save it, and basically, ideally, you should roast it in the oven for a little bit, and then you're basically just going to simmer it for a long time. And you should throw a few things in there, ideally, maybe a little celery or carrots, or since none of those things exist, you can just pull the weeds out of your backyard grass and throw those in there. But anyway, and then you'll have stock. You can boil it down, and then it's much better tasting than the stuff that you buy in a can. And so that's what this is. I basically made some ribs, and I toasted them in the oven for 40 minutes, and then I basically boiled them low simmer for about 4 hours. That's what tonight's sauce base is going to be. I put that stock on top of the flour and butter, and we're going to go. So right now we got the rice is done. That's what the beeping was all about. I don't know if you heard that. Oop, it's definitely not done. Water left. Okay, I'm way ahead of the game here. And then there's again, this is the pork, my homemade pork stock made out of rib bones with flour and butter. Now, and then here we go for spices. I'm gonna throw these spices on last. It's the last thing I'm gonna do because they are so aromatic, so flavorful. I don't want to destroy their aroma with cooking them. I'm gonna keep them preserved for a long time. I want that aroma to be bright when I serve my stir fry to myself. Um, if I'm making it for other people, I'll go ahead and throw it in now. But for myself, I'm going to definitely try to preserve that flavor. All right. The last items we have to get ready here are the vegetables. While this is gradually doing its thing, there's not really much more that needs to happen here, except I should probably put some ginger into it. I put the ginger. There it is. Yeah, I'll probably put a little bit of honey in. Just to give it a little kick. And then, for good measure, let's put a little bit of vinegar. This is this is basically how soy sauce is made, except it uses soy, uh, not this. But the concept is basically similar in that you're going to have a little bit of fat, a little bit of flavoring added. You're going to have a little vinegar. You're going to have a little sugar. Same basic concept. It's not rocket science. Let's see. The question is, which vinegar should I use? Don't really want to put balsamic in this. You know, I'm going to be radical, and instead I'm going to use some brandy. Something that has a low pH is basically what I'm after. And the alcohol will, of course, boil off, but we'll see how it tastes. I bet it'll taste pretty good. All right. So, next on our agenda is not wine. Nobody cares about that. But rather, let's get the vegetables ready. Give me 1 second. Okay. First of all, here at COVID Kitchens, we're emphasizing the importance of survival. This is the last of the broccoli I've got from the store. Probably 3 weeks old. It's getting a little dated. Chop off the end of that because it's probably full of all the horrible poisons that I previously told you weren't important. Next, we're going to chop off the edges of our broccoli stems that I've saved for weeks because I realized how precious these puppies were. And the core of these is fine. We're going to use them basically as though they were, like water chestnuts. And this is where we're just starting to graze the subject of, okay, how do you manage to make your food stock survive? This is what we're starting to do here. It's been 3 weeks. It's long enough now that people are, yeah, you can go to the grocery store, but why would you? By now, you've already hoarded. I mean, admit it, you have, and some of you even have eggs. My first things I ran out of were eggs and lettuce. I haven't had lettuce in a week and a half. Kind of sucks. But for those of you who still have lettuce, you know, you're living the high life, risking your life going to the farmer's market. You know, so that's fine. But for the rest of us, we have to figure out how to survive without all those things. And how are we going to do this? Well, that's the real purpose of the show. So that's why I'm chopping up little pieces of broccoli stems. Not because I really like broccoli stems that much, but because, this is like vital survival food here. All right. And then, of course, there's this handful of actual broccoli. We're definitely going to eat those puppies. By the way, I've already washed these. Uh, I'm not that sloppy. It's pre-show prep. All right. It looks like there's a little bonus material here I missed. All right. All right. So we've got our broccoli prepped. Now, to supplement this, I've harvested all the broccolini from COVID Gardens, and here's this abundance, this wealth of broccoli that I'll add to the mix. You already saw that on the previous show about how badly that did, and making more jokes about that. All right, this is garlic. Remember, we're using pickled garlic. Go ahead and throw those puppies in. I can never be eating too much pickled garlic as far as I'm concerned. Pickled garlic is basically an essential food that everybody should have in abundance in their own fridge. That's my own biased opinion. You're welcome to eat at McDonald's. I don't care. All right. Now, this is probably the most important part of the whole COVID kitchen experience tonight. It's time to break into some canned food, starting with baby corn. Because if you think this is enough food to eat tonight, you're you're basically way wrong. So we've got to supplement this with some canned food. All right. Beautiful. Now we've got a meal. And then, of course, this is the most critical ingredient for the whole evening. Is the last of my mushrooms, not including the one on the floor. up. And there you have it. Ready to cook stir fry. Let's see how the rest of our night is going. The rice is done. Oh yeah. Sauce getting thick. Turn that down a little bit. Pretty good on its own. And now it's time for the fry. Max heat, always, when you're doing stir fry. Anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. Sorry. Sometimes I forget that I need to stay in front of this. Let's try to maximize the experience. Yeah, that's not gonna work. All right, see, look at this. Look at how nice that is. It's smoking. It's gonna set off the fire alarm here. Let's give it about 20 seconds. It's fine. House isn't really burning down. Oh God, that smells so strong. Let's see. Where did I put the damn peanut oil? Huh. Do I have it here somewhere? Peanut oil? Come on. That's right. What's this? Olive oil. I have plenty of olive oil. I'm pretty sure I have peanut oil somewhere. Sesame oil. Well, we can use that. Let's throw some sesame oil in here. You have it. Should be enough. Beautiful. I'm of the opinion that everybody undercooks their mushrooms. If you properly cook your mushrooms, they shouldn't just basically lose their water. They should start to really brown up a lot. So cook them hot. All right, it looks pretty hot, doesn't it? It's almost done. It's almost done. So now we're gonna have a little chat. Yeah, let me set the correct levels. All right. I don't know how many of you are still watching. Probably not very many, but if you still are, more power to you. Oh, hold on. Let me get my wine. Finishing this dish is easy. I just basically throw the spices on top of the vegetables and then mix it all together. Not that complicated. You don't need to see that. The important thing is I've basically leveraged the food that I have in my house that's getting to the point where, you know, the broccoli was getting old. It's been 3 weeks and 2 days since I've been to the grocery store. So I managed to use those. I used the last of my mushrooms here. I'm starting to use canned food using rice. I'm making my own sauces from stock. And this is the important detailer. Remember, Cooked Kitchen is not really, this is not a cooking show. If you want to watch a cooking show, there are a zillion better places. This is a survival show. Eh, not a very good way of surviving either. However, you get the point. So what I want to do right now, and then I'm going to clock out and then eat this. I'm just letting it cool down a little bit. Is I want to show you where I'm at in terms of how much stock do I have left, because that's really what matters here. So let's take a look. Here's my upper freezer, pretty full. That's flour, Yachernitsa, bacon, plenty there. Here's where I'm really starting to get weak, is in my fridge. Getting a little low on, I have no fruit. I have no fruit, no eggs. There's plenty of cheese and butter, but other than that, there's not much there. No fresh vegetables except for one tomato. I've got some onions and scallions and a handful of small red potatoes that are sprouting roots, but that's about it. I'm pretty well stocked on pasta and other miscellany like masticholi, taco seasoning, tacos, and macaroni and cheese. And my Lazy Susan is full. And this is 3 weeks in. And I've barely even touched my other Lazy Susan. So I'm prepared to go a long time. Now, the other two important stocks are the downstairs refrigerator and freezer. The fridge never had much in it, but the freezer did. And the freezer is still about 80% full. But it's starting to go down. That's what I'm starting to rely on more as I've lost access to frozen products. Excuse me, fresh products. So I don't have lettuce. I don't have eggs. I've used the last of my mushrooms. I'm out of green peppers. I'm actually out of most vegetables. So at this point, my only fresh vegetables are going to be the ones coming out of the Cooked Kitchen farms. I do have things like the blanched asparagus, which were from episode one, and some other. I have other vegetables, but it's going to be a change starting now. Uh, Alcohol is declining. I'm half out of hard alcohol. I have gone through about 30% of my beer. I still have tons of wine. I've gone through about one case, so that should be fine for a while. I started this with only one cigar, and I haven't smoked it yet. I'm saving that in case my buddy Dave comes over. But other than that, we're doing pretty good here. Got a pretty good supply. Got plenty of Triscuits and cheese and stir fry. So anyway, that's the latest from COVID Kitchens. I hope you enjoyed episode 4. I don't really want to watch you sitting here while I eat and commenting on that, so I'm just basically going to clock out. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll see if there's an episode 5. Good night.